You're watching Open Agenda. Here's our host, Joe Venosa.
Hi, welcome to this week's episode of Open Agenda. This week we are a West Side centric episode, to say the least, and we've got two great authorities on that. We've got, of course, old friend Mr. Jim Adkins in the house.
Yeah.
Welcome, sir. And a very old friend from our founding days back with us. It's kind of like a Beatles reunion. Mr. Mark Carroll from Sharptown.
All right.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing all right.
Good.
Who's Ringo?
Yeah.
Me, if you've seen my drumming, except not the talent. What I'd like to do is we have a really special guest today. We have Mr. Matthew Korshkin, who is the communications director for the Westside Neighborhood Alliance, which is a really great nonprofit that's been doing some exciting things out on the West Side down in Bivalve. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to bring Mr. Korshkin on. Jim, if we can kick you out for a few minutes,
Yep.
and then we'll have Mr. Matthew here and chat about what's going on, and they can dialogue with Mark a bit. And then afterward, I'd like to bring you back on to kind of talk about not only what they're doing, but what's down the road and what do these folks on the West Side feel that they need to advocate for. Does that sound like a good
Sounds
plan?
good. He's got a lot of things going on down there.
Mark, you going to stick around for us a little bit?
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir. All right. Well, we'll be right back with our next segment of Open Agenda. Welcome back to Open Agenda. With us in the house are two big voices from the west side of the county. We have Mr. Matthew Korshkin, who is the communications director for the Westside Neighborhood Alliance. I got that right?
You did correct, yes.
Okay, I can only go down from here. And an old friend from the show, Mr. Mark Carroll. Mr. Carroll, you actually, for those that might not be aware, are actually a commissioner from Sharptown.
That's correct.
And you also are the head of WINS.
Yes.
Okay, can you just explain what WINS is?
Yes. In the west side of the county, our youth sports programming had gotten to the point where we needed additional resources. So we partnered with a local nonprofit called Wraparound Maryland, and we formed WINS, through which we were able to get grants and other funding sources that wouldn't have been available to us otherwise, so that we can continue to grow the program and hopefully expand further into the county.
Fantastic. So it's sort of like an auxiliary program for these activities that are so needed on the west side.
Yes, and more of like an umbrella to provide the
umbrella.
resources to everyone that needs it, to help keep these programs going.
Fantastic. Well, speaking of that, it sounds like there's quite a bit of great things that are sort of in the works on the west side. And what I'd like to do is, if maybe we can talk about that to inform the public, because sometimes we don't really get a sense of what's going on in other parts of the county. But the west side really seems to be an area where there is quite a bit that's going on and that will be progressing in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. The West Side, I'm not originally from the West Side, and I had no idea how vibrant of a community it really is. And they had the building there. I'll just give you a short history of it. The community center was built in the 1959 by the Lions Club. Is eventually given to the county. Is now a county park. And during COVID, people stopped coming, and the county wasn't sure what to do with the building. And a group, I was not part of the original founding members of WSNA, Westside Neighborhood Alliance, but they stepped in and said, hey, if we can basically be stewards of the center and show and bring it back to life, can we keep the building? Can we keep this park open? And they said, sure. So we actually rent the building from them on a 3-year lease, and we provide our mission is to provide programs and services to enrich the lives of our residents and to bring that sense back there. So like we do our holiday dinner every year there, and we have a lot of, and I'll touch this in a second, we have a lot of sports programs and fitness programs like yoga and Pilates, but we're working more in the future. It's kind of branching out a little bit more. We were very disappointed that the food bank was discontinued temporarily. We're working on bringing that back, possibly to our center. We're going to bring it back. We just got a new PA system, so now we can finally talk to people while we're in there. So we're going to have all sorts of fun, like dances, and maybe even like a talent show and stuff like that. But so it's going to be like a mixture of things that our community probably have needs of, but also things that are just kind of fun. And
Yeah.
give people a reason to be happy and be together and be neighborly, because we all talk about like, Mayberry and how much do we miss this? We have an opportunity to really build that, and that's what we're trying to do down there. So one of the things we have a hard time getting youth sports rolling, and it was because it used to be huge down there. You can go down there. We've got pictures. We've got old trophies of the kids, and then sometime around the early 2000s into the COVID era, the 2010s, it just kind of dropped off. And there's a lot of kids in the area, and we want to provide something for them. So that's actually how we met Mark here. I was talking to Jim Adkins, and I was saying, hey, we want to bring a program down here, and the problem we have in the center is we have a gym that has a basketball court, And that's about it in terms of sports. Now, you can play indoor soccer. You can play a couple of things there. But in terms of warm weather and being outside and keeping the kids moving, but we have a county park right up the road. And it's got a ball field. It's got 2 baseball fields, a soccer field, a tennis court. So we thought, well, what if we just did it out there? What if we would sponsor and we would help bring it there, but we didn't know how to do it or what to do. I've never started a sports league before. So that's where Mark came in, because Mark has and was very successful. And Jim said, hey, these 2 guys, Joe and Mark, let them talk to you. They can guide you and show you how they did it, and maybe you can do the same thing. And that's how we met them, because that's one thing that we really, because all of our kids have to drive to Mardella, Salisbury, places like that. We want to bring a place where they can look for the parents.
It's right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Mark, can you tell us a little bit about both the short and long-term goals with regard to sports planning and activity that you're going to be engaging with on the West Side?
Yes, absolutely. I think in the immediate future, in order to try to, encourage these kids to come out, we'll probably start some sort of a futsal program, it's basically indoor soccer, and we can play it on basketball courts.
Okay.
But there's no walls.
Gotcha.
The ball doesn't bounce as high and everything like that. It's a little bit different than indoor soccer. A lot of times when we're introducing it, we just tell people it's indoor soccer, and our rules are a little different, just so that most people know what indoor soccer is.
Sure.
And in order to do that, we have actually, to make sure that there are enough kids to play, we've been reaching out to our existing participants from the other towns and asking, since we are technically between our seasons, if any of the kids are not playing any other sports now, but are interested in playing a little bit more soccer. There might be some nights where we have an opportunity for them to play. The hope being that when we go out to play soccer there, if enough of the local kids aren't there to play a game, if they only have 4 or 5 show up, we'll still be able to play. And it will still be a positive experience for the kids that show up. And then as we go out there, we will need to bring less and less of our volunteer kid force, because those kids are going back and telling their friends, hey, you really need to check this out. This is great. And then beyond that, the ultimate goal would be to have at least one outdoor soccer team in the fall that could participate and play games with us, and then just build it up from there.
Okay. So keep that organic pace.
If I can add to that, we're hoping to roll that out in April. So it's coming soon. We just have to get a couple things in place still. But that's going to be a very, very short term.
How was it from your end to sort of meet Matthew and then talk about facilitating this kind of new hub?
It was very exciting.
Yeah.
I was thrilled at the idea, which, by the way, if you want to know how large Wicomico County is in its ruralness, at the moment, they're building a traffic light now, but you can drive from Sharptown down to the Westside Community Center and not hit any traffic lights, and it's a 35-minute drive. You can drive 35 minutes in Wicomico County and not hit a traffic light. Take the back road.
You know what people in New Jersey call that? Paradise.
Yeah, it is, and it's a beautiful drive. It's a wonderful drive, and I'm really excited at the prospect of this helping them establish programming, because their situation is very similar to what ours was in Sharptown, and even though it might not seem like it, they serve a wide area. There's a lot of kids in the area, and I think the goal is just getting the word out, and that once people understand what's happening, they will start coming out. And it's exactly how it happened when we started doing it in Sharptown. It started small, and then it built up, and then word spread. People figured out what we were doing.
Right.
We did everything. We did Facebook. We did flyers in the post office and everything like that. There's nothing better than word of mouth.
Yeah.
When people see what you're doing and hear what you're doing, that's the best way to get people in.
Well, and to your point on that, I think when you have the credibility of being from the community and advocating, that word of mouth has an added weight to it, because you know that, again, you're in there, you're working with the kids, you understand what the needs of the neighborhood and the community are, rather than coming in with kind of a preordained, like, here's what might work because it's worked elsewhere. But every community is a bit unique, and so I think it's great that you're kind of doing it in an organic way.
Well, and
Right.
we have a Wednesday nights. We have a pickup basketball game, and a lot of the guys that come to that are in their early 20s, and they've been playing together for years, and they are really, really good. And that's actually kind of what got the ball rolling. Is it originally started as open gym, so folks were bringing their kids, and the kids were just outclassed, and they were uncomfortable. And then, of course, those guys had to play half court because we only have one court, and the kids are just kind of screwing around on the other end. And that's where we're like, you know what, we need to provide a place for these kids to go, because there's obviously they keep coming and then they can't use it, and that's heartbreaking for us. That the whole community centers for the whole community. So that's what got the ball rolling on this. What other paths can we explore that are youth specific? And we had, like I said, we had that beautiful soccer court up there. Sorry, soccer pitch up there, and I know the terminology. And we thought, and so when we met Mark and Joe, we were really, really excited. We're having a little trouble. People are it's everyone's just so gun shy there because of what happened with everybody pulling back, and then people caught out with the practice of going is, are the kids going to come? Are they? And I really do believe we provide a space for them. You can drive around the West Side. There's kids everywhere. As a matter of fact, before we did this, I actually Googled Sharptown's population, and I Googled the population of all our areas that we serve, which is kind of hard because a lot of our census designated places are not really great census places. And we actually had a couple hundred more citizens than Sharptown's. Like, well, they can do it.
Yeah.
We've got population is similar. The median age was 44 and a half. There's got to be kids around here somewhere.
If you build it, they will come, right?
We're hoping.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a benefit of having an established program coming into a community like that, there are some challenges that we face and some growing pains that they would not, when you're building it up yourself, there's that chance where you build that momentum and then it peters out. You lose some of it. But coming into an existing program like what we have with the league that we've established, the games will happen no matter what. So you know that going into it. And then you put together whatever teams you can. And if it's only one or two, that's not a big deal. Everyone else, all of the other towns that participate are there for you and there to support you. And we have Sharptown, Mardella, Hebron, and then Pittsville on the other side of the county. That we all play games against. So, and then just specifically from the West Side perspective, we've had players in Sharptown from Bivalve. So knowing that those families were willing to make that drive.
Right. Clearly there's a need.
Yes, absolutely. And we've actually reached out to some of the families and some of the local programs that we know live close to there, out that way, and asked them if they knew any other families that wanted to go out and participate in those teams as well. Because from our perspective, and I took this inspiration from the Wicomico County Recreation and Parks philosophy is that they don't have to play for us as long as they're playing. That's the mentality.
I think we overlook, well, not we, but many people might overlook just the integral importance of youth sports and how it operates on so many levels for kids' mental health, the physical health, obviously. But just, in an era where we're dominated by smartphones and technology and social isolation, something as simple as playing a game, unfortunately, has to have this kind of effort. But it sounds like you guys are doing it in such an amazing way.
To that point, I think it's probably more important now than it ever has been. The youth sports has always been a place where kids can learn complex feelings and emotions and how to deal with them. Learning to trust other people, being close with other people, doing things as a team, learning how to accept defeat and not let it ruin your day. Also learning how to win and recognizing the defeat in someone else and trying to, realize like we're happy, maybe we should go over here a little bit because we can see that they're a little sad. So
sounds like there's a couple of adults they can teach too about that.
So I think it's very important and to be able to reach out in these communities that don't have many other programmings or many other options other than driving into Salisbury. Because like I said, the West Side is the same as Salisbury.
We hope that actually this soccer league, not only obviously is successful, but even if we have one team, right? and they're there at the fields and they're playing. People, like I said, they all drive to these travel teams. The reason why the fields aren't used is because nobody uses them, even when they bring their kids to existing sports and things like that. I think a lot of people don't think about it, but to see that vibrancy come back and see that life come back and say, hey, you know what, we can bring our kids down here. There's leagues down here, because again, what would you join? There's nothing here.
Right.
There's no county sponsored teams down there, unfortunately. And I think that just the visibility alone, I don't care if there's only one team. If 4 kids show up, I'll be happy that those 4 kids got something out of it. Because like you said, what you learn from sports, you don't have to be good at it to learn a lot of good things from it. And I think that a lot of people think that expectation of, oh, my kid's got to be really good, or he's got, no one's going to laugh at you. And what you get out of it is so much better than just sitting at home and playing video games, something like that. And that was something we actually had feedback from a kid. We had a Lego event recently, right? And not a lot of kids showed up. And I used to love Legos, still kind of do. And so I said to him, I was like, well, why is your age not here? I get a lot of feedback. And he goes, well, because we don't have the attention span. He didn't say it in these words, but he said to me that they prefer to do something more dynamic, but he was referring to video games, something where they are more interactive. He said sitting down and then focusing it for like that long, it was kind of boring to him. Sports, you don't get bored.
Yes, and the thing with the video games, you're right. And I grew up playing video games, but it was at a time where video games were for rainy days and nights.
Right.
We played sports during the day. And when they're playing video games, they're not even playing in the same room with their friends. They're playing online. So they never develop that empathy from seeing what...
Actually, quite the opposite.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you ever been in a video game chat lounge?
Exactly.
Yes. When you don't see the other person in their defeat, then I think it doesn't allow you to develop as a person.
I can say this as a professor at the university, seeing college students, some of whom who have never played a team sport or never played an instrument. I'm more of a musician. I mean, I used to play baseball, but I think there's a correlation between doing something that creates something collectively, whether it's a game with people or music. You're creating a human interaction there.
Absolutely. And like to the point where you were talking about the community coming together, the program, it's not just the teams come together, and it's not just that the program grows because you're being able to put more people in. It's because slowly you start to see the community step up, and you start to see the community embrace this programming to the point where when we have opening days, we have all of our town's opening days in the fall, and we go out to Pittsville, or we stay, we're in home at Sharptown on Heritage Day, or go to Mardello or Hebron. Seeing these fields come alive with people and all of the flags in place and the perfectly painted lines. Thank you, Joe White. It's incredible. And I think it's impactful to everyone there. At least I hope it is. It's always impactful to me every time we go out and I look across that field and I think, this was just grass before. And now this has become something.
Look, speaking as one of those parents who brought their kid who often doesn't get the opportunity to play in those ways, I could tell you it means a lot to a lot of people. So it's a wonderful thing. Ms. Gorshkin, you've got the last word. What, if anything, would you like the rest of the county or the community to know about the things that are perhaps in the works on the West Side, or anything you'd just like to communicate?
People kind of tend to write off the West Side. We have a very rural feel. A lot of people move out there because they want that rural feel. But there's actually a really, like I said before, a vibrant community of people that live there. Where the story I like to tell, and I won't get too much into it, is when we moved down here, we had not even lived here a year, and I got really sick. And this is actually how I came across WSNA. We didn't know a single person down here. My neighbor 2 doors down, Nancy Rogers, wonderful lady, literally took us under her wing. I had to be in the hospital for 40-some days. My wife was with me during that time. So we didn't have anyone take care of the house. We didn't have any money coming in. We didn't have anything. And the community rallied around us. People I didn't even know gave us food and money and support and things like that. And that, so they actually started with WSNA because WSNA and a whole bunch of organizations down there, very charitable, work together to help us. So I started volunteering to give back, basically, to repay that debt. And I found a group of people who just love one another. So my advice, honestly, is come down. Check us out. Check out Westside Neighborhood Alliance. We're on Facebook. We have a website, westsidenow.org. Come to one of our events. It's not just for people on the West Side. We welcome everybody, and we understand A community is a very, very diverse group of people with a common goal.
Yeah.
And our goal is just taking care of one another, making sure that, you think the West Side is a, place to live. It's not. So, and we enrich that down there. We have a community center. We have a county park. Don't be shy. Come on down.
Wow. I don't think I could have said any better. Gentlemen, thank you for your time. This was really wonderful. Appreciate it. Hopefully we'll have you on again soon. Stick around, and we'll be right back with the next segment of Open Agenda. Welcome back to Open Agenda. Back with us is Mr. Jim Adkins, and sticking around is, of course, Mr. Mark Carroll. Gentlemen, thank you.
Yep. Sure.
So it sounds like there's a lot of, frankly, just phenomenal things going on the West Side that we can kind of see have developed in such a great organic way. But it seems that there's also a lot of great stuff coming down the pike as well, right?
Yeah. Matthew is really focused on making that community center work, and the community center has been there a long time. My wife is from that area and talks all the time about all the events that used to happen down there. But the building's old, and the building needs some help. The building needs a new roof. And last week at a meeting down there at the Westside neighborhood group, Councilman Wynn announced that they needed a new roof on that building, which everybody knew because every time it rains, it leaks. And then the director of administration, Mr. Luckman, got up and stated that they've been talking and they were getting quotes last week. Steve Miller was getting quotes last week to either repair or replace the roof, which it needs 100%. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. But the thing that really caught my attention was that they came down and announced that at that community meeting. There isn't any money in the CIP in the budget to replace that roof. There is money in the CIP to replace that roof in 2029. And the CIP clearly, and this is reading from the CIP, the roof system has been a maintenance issue in recent years and has surpassed its useful life. That CIP comment was written in December of 2025, saying that the roof has exceeded its useful life, but we're not going to fix it until 2029. Well, now all of a sudden, election year, here they come down the West Side. We're going to fix the roof this year. We're going to get bids this week, and it's going to happen. Okay, so let's see what happens. It needs to happen. It's not in the budget. It's not in the CIP. So in the next month or short term, it's going to have to be brought before the council to make this happen. And I think the council will support it. But it is a county-owned building. It needs maintenance, just like the Civic Center needed a new roof that they gave $4 million to put a new roof on the Civic Center. Well, they need to put a new roof on this building because it was built in the 50s. Yeah. And it's old, and it needs a new roof.
I mean, is this really just election year politicking? Is it?
Well, I think it is when you have a CIP presented in December of 25, and then all of a sudden in March of 26, they're going to do a project they planned on doing 4 years down the road, and now all of a sudden, let's move it to this year. And
yeah, it seems a bit odd to say the least.
It's good that it's happening, but it just seems odd that all of a sudden, boom, here we go down here, and let's go down and make the announcement before it's ever been addressed with the council or included in the budget. So
a good thing, but for the wrong reasons.
Exactly,
you could say.
To me, being a cynical person,
well, I guess it seems that anything we look at in the community, even things that are ideally for the most good and innocent things like youth sports, are always affected by the broader dynamics of politics and what the adults will do. So maybe it's good that we keep our eyes on not only these kinds of funding updates and politicking, but how does it affect communities like Sharptown or other places on the West Side? Because it seems like no matter what goes on, any community-oriented activity is always to some extent at the whims of the political process.
Yes.
And obviously to the financial realities. So I think it's something to keep our eyes on, and certainly as we get into the rest of the year, this seems like these kinds of issues will come up more, not less.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a neighborhood alliance down there that is trying to better the community, give the young people something to do in an organized fashion, give the older people, I mean, they have bingos down there, they have Pilates, they have yoga classes. There's just, they're really trying to get this off the ground and get it back to where it used to be, a community function.
Yeah.
But the county owns the building. It's the county part. The county is responsible to maintain it and keep it up. And this is a nonprofit organization. The county's going to have to step up. I mean, this building needs a new roof, but this building needs other help too. And the county really needs to recognize that just because it's not in Salisbury and just because it's not in a major area, that community needs help. And Mark knows that very well from some of the things that have gone on in Sharptown. I mean, the council stepped up and helped with Sharptown getting the lights that they needed on the fields. And people just need to be aware, and people like Mark and Joe White that go and do these sports and youth activities and go to the council, they just have to make them aware of what needs to go on, because I have not seen any negative response from the county or the council when stuff is brought to them that we can work on this project and we can make it happen.
But given the Westside that voice, that sense of urgency is always
exactly. You know, and it's a good group.
Yeah, wonderful.
I mean, I know the frustration that Jim is referring to, and I've seen it before in residents and things like that, feeling like that, you know, we may be forgotten or put last. Maybe I'm just an eternal optimist, but I see it the opposite way. I kind of like that we're all self-sufficient and that we all, you know, we're appreciative of anything, any support that we get from the outside, but we all take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
And well, part of the reason when we went to the Westside meeting the other week, I encouraged members of our recreation and parks in Sharptown to go down there as well as a show of support. You know, we're supporting what you do. If you need anything from us, let us know. If you want to get a dialogue going, like I know we are quite a distance away, but we are Nanticoke neighbors.
Yeah.
So
there's another group to create, right? Nanticoke neighbors.
Yeah, exactly. So I like that we are kind of put in this position where we're seeking each other out for support. And I think it creates something more dynamic because you have more people working with you, more volunteers, more grassroots kind of things going on whenever we do anything, whether it's a soccer program or a movie night.
Yeah.
So
it seems like like all things, there's a balance that needs to be sort of kept in mind, is that, you know, you need the organic help to motivate people to do it in the first place. But at the same time, to your point, if you've got county facilities and these are responsibilities of county government, they have to begin to step up for the West Side in a way that they haven't done before, other than maybe the occasional cynical election ploy.
Well, you know, the problem is these people on the West Side and probably Sharptown not as much, because they are a corporation and they know government and how to operate. These are private individuals, and the thing that they need and that we're trying to give them is who to talk to.
Right.
Who to talk to. We took Mark and Joe down there to talk to them about getting these sports programs started and the soccer programs. Talk to them about, you know, Laurie Carter looking for grants. You know, the community management group looking for grants, and they just need to be pointed in the direction of who do I talk to?
Yep.
Because they don't know, and unless you get involved in it, none of us know.
Yeah.
Well, that's something I have to give Jim credit for, is that he single-handedly orchestrated that meeting between Sharptown and the West Side. I had wanted to engaged with them for a while, and I didn't know that they were looking to build something up. So the fact that Jim was able to connect that and bring us together was crucial. It was amazing, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to have that meeting, because I think it's going to turn into something incredible.
Yeah. Well, I think we all will look forward to those incredible developments. Thank you, gentlemen, so much for your time. I appreciate it. Hope you can enjoy the rest of the awesome weather out there today. And thank you for joining us. We'll be back soon with a new episode of Open Agenda.